Hello YouTube stackers, this is ST with Silver Stacking 101. I apologize about not posting a video this past Wednesday. I do not even have a good excuse. I was stuck with a professional project for work that made Tuesday and Wednesday incredibly long days. I wish I had a good excuse like I went fishing or flying. You could understand that, but I ended up having to work. Darn it. But I got to pay the bills. So I apologize I did not put up a video. We will continue on the Wednesday series on the eroding personal property rights in the United States. In this video, we are going to start with the lies that silver pumpers tell in order to induce people to overspend, overinvest into silver. The following weeks are given in no particular order. These are just lies that silver pumpers get on YouTube and tell. The first lie we are going to discuss is historically a day's wages have been worth 1/10 of an ounce of silver. Now, like most good lies, it has a somewhat substantial foundation in the truth. But this lie is more of a lie of omission than just outright blatant falsehood. Next week's going to be a blatant falsehood. But let's talk about this. Here's how the narrative of the lie goes. Since Roman times, the compensation for a day's wages has been average 1/10 of an ounce of silver. Now, if we carry that forward till today, and let's assume the average wage in the United States of America is $18 per hour. That equates to $144 for an 8-hour day. So that means that 1/10 of an ounce of silver is worth $144. Therefore, an ounce of silver is worth $1,440. And that's the pricing model that pumpers use to justify an incredibly high fictitious value for silver. Here's where it's a lie. Since Roman times, a day's wages have been worth about 1/10 of an ounce of silver. That part's true. Up till the Industrial Revolution. And that's when things started to change. Let's look at the lifestyle for the workers when it was 1/10 of an ounce of silver. It was subsistence living only. And I thought of this example today. When a loved one dies today, and we have to dispose of their possessions, their clothing, if you like most people I know, we take the trash bags, we put their clothing in trash bags, and we take it to Goodwill or the Salvation Army or so forth, and donate it. These people in Roman times going forward to the Industrial Revolution willed their clothing. These people had nothing. They lived hand to mouth. They didn't have transportation expenses because they didn't have transportation. They didn't have medical expenses. They didn't have doctors. They didn't have communications expense. Communication was more verbal with these guys. So what did they have in their lifestyle that necessitated money? Work was their currency. They were serfs to the land. Now, I am not saying after the crash that a day's wages would not be paid in the equivalent value of 1/10 of an ounce of silver. I'm saying it's going to be that bad on people. If one thinks that they have an ounce of silver and one day they're going to get the economic buying power of $1,440 today at some future point, they're going to be sadly mistaken, because we are relating to a situation and a time period it really sucked to live in. There was nothing. These people were serfs. They had no possessions. We may go back to that. Actually, I think we will. And to have a layer of wealth that can be used on the black market, even in the event of a crash, and we're going to do a series on the crash, the coming crash, and what it's going to look like after we do the Pumper Life series. It's going to be important to have that layer of wealth. But do not buy silver thinking that you're buying a $1,440 asset for $1,650. That is crazy. It is not that. It does not have that potential of a return. If we ever see $1,440 ounce silver, the economy, society will be in absolute chaos. It will be terrible to live in that time. And we may see that time. And our economic buying power at $1,440 may be a loaf of bread and a sack of potatoes or something. So don't let this model they use convince you that silver should be worth $1,400. I have received some criticism because my relationships that I use only go back to post-World War II. I am trying to compare apples to apples. If we want to go back further, it changes the entire dynamics, because we have to look at the lifestyle of that time period. How many people want to live like people did in the 1820s economically? Or the 1300s economically? But that's what their comparison goes back to. And their comparison may be valid when the economy crashes, but it's not going to be for the good of anybody. We may go back to hand-to-mouth subsistence living. Very well could. But to tell someone that they're buying an asset worth $1,440 for $1,650 is total craziness based on this logic. So that's lie number one. Next week is going to be a blatant lie with no foundation in the fact. And that's the secret knowledge log. That's the inside source, the confidential informant lie. We're going to talk about that next week. This Wednesday, we're going to talk about erosion of personal property rights. We got about 3 more videos in that series. Subscribe if you haven't. Comment if you disagree. I know a lot of you guys are really pissed at me right now because, well, for some reason, if someone lies to someone and they buy the lie, they don't get near as mad as the person that tells them the truth. But comment, subscribe if you haven't. If you disagree, don't just put on there, I disagree. Tell me why. Write it out. If you go back and look, I allow disagreement comments all the time. I want to hear them. If you agree, I want to hear them. God bless you. Thank you for watching.